Well, hello. Welcome to another episode of Disney Icks with Casey. This is the series in which I talk about things that are unsavory and unlikable and things that give people the ick inside of Disney and other theme parks too, but my focus is Disney. Today, sorry, I'm trying to get comfortable. Oh my gosh. Today, we're going to talk about I wrote it down as two things, but I'm going to talk about it as one thing. But it is the way that people act in the park regarding their kids, and it's also the way in people act regarding everybody else, as far as like self-centeredness, selfishness, greediness. People try to cut to the front of the lines, etc., things like that. Because they kind of are two of the same things, just two sides of the same coin, which is just selfishness. So I'm going to jump right in. The first thing I'm going to say is that when it comes to people's kids, your child or children, if you're at Disney with kids, are not the only kids in the parks. They are not the only kids that are there. They are not the only kids at Disney World. Everybody wants their kids to enjoy themselves and have a nice time and do fun things. So, what that means, everybody gets to enjoy the parks with their kids. You're not the only ones that get to do these things. So your kid's happiness does not come before another kid's happiness, in the same way that another kid's happiness doesn't come before your kid's happiness. Everyone is in there to share it together. Pushing to the front, making scenes, trying to get people to do things for your kids because you're here with your kids is not okay. Spoiler alert, everybody else with kids at Disney World is also there with their kids, and they want their kids to have a good time too. You are not the only one there with children. Everybody there with children wants their kids to have a good time too. Your kid is not the only kid that matters. Your children aren't the only ones that get to do whatever they want in the park. It is a shared experience between yourself and everybody else. Now, the other side of this, not regarding kids, this is more for adults, because adults have control of their behavior in the parks. You are not the only one who paid to be there. You are not the only one who spent thousands of dollars to be there. You're not the only one who saved for months and months and months to be there. You're not the only one who drove across the country to be there. You're not the only one who flew from another country to be there. Everybody else is in the same exact boat as you. So when you say things like that, like, oh, we paid this much money to be here, I can't believe this is happening. So did everyone else. Everybody else. Nobody gets in the parks for free unless you're a cast member. But even then, it's not free because you work there 7 days a week for 13 hours a day with a 30-minute lunch break. But when you go to the parks, I don't want to say you're not special, because everybody is special. But really, if you go to the parks, you are not special. You are there with 30 to 40,000 other people on any given day. Yes, you are special in the eyes that they want you to be here, and you are a treasured guest. But in the eyes of the day-to-day operations in Disney World, you are not special. Everybody else is in the same exact boat as you. You are not the only person that spent $10,000 and saved for 2 years and drove all the way from Nebraska. You're not the only one who did that. Everybody else did it too. Not everybody, but you get what I'm saying. So when it comes to behavior like this, and I've seen it many times working at Disney, and then especially when I worked at guest relations for Universal, I heard it all the time. When somebody didn't get what they want, that's the first thing they would say. Do you have any idea how much money I spent on this vacation? Yeah, I do, actually. I know exactly how much you spent because I can see your account right here. I also work here, so I know how much it costs. I'm very well aware. I don't need you to tell me. Because guess what? The family that I was talking to before you also spent that much money, and the people behind you in line also spent that much money. So yes, I know exactly how much you spent. We all know exactly how much you spent. None of us are strangers to the cost of Disney. We know how much it costs. So when you say things like that, do you have any idea how much I spent to get here? I can't believe I spent $10,000 on this vacation, blah blah. I spent this much money.
Shut up.
Shut up. We don't care. Nobody cares. special. You're not. And I know that sounds harsh, and I know it might sound mean, but it's true. You're not the only people who came here and spent a large amount of money to do so. So that means you don't get to act and talk and do whatever you want to do inside the park just because you paid to be there. Everybody else paid to be there, but that doesn't mean everybody's going to act like an asshole. Everybody else paid to be there. That doesn't mean they're going to let their kids climb all over the trash cans and climb up the waterfall in the Coronado Springs Resort, or go around to a bunch of character actors and touch them, put their hands on them, or step in the way of like Kylo Ren and the Stormtroopers when they're walking through Galaxy's Edge. Just because you paid to be there doesn't mean you get to act however you want to act. You didn't buy the park. You didn't buy the right to be king of the parks and do whatever you want. You bought the privilege to be allowed in the park at the discretion of Disney World. Which, if you do not know, that is all a ticket is. A ticket does not guarantee entry. A ticket is a privilege of the allowance of being in the park at the will of Disney World. So if you buy a ticket and you get in trouble for something and you're like, oh, well, I bought a ticket. I paid to be here. No, you didn't. You paid for the privilege for Disney to allow you inside the park that day. That means at any point, they can not allow you to be in the park that day. But that was a bit of a rant. That one hit kind of close to home because, like I said, working guest relations at Universal, and when I worked at Disney, I didn't see that this much just because of my position at Disney, but especially at Universal with guest relations, I heard this all the time. But yeah, like I was saying, this was a bit of a rant because this one struck really close to home. I'm sure anybody who's watching that also works guest relations at either parks or any theme park, to be honest, they can relate to what I'm saying. It's a very petty and tedious excuse that people use when they say that, because I don't know what people expect. Because when I would work at guest relations at Universal, when somebody said that to me, in my head, the only thing I was thinking of is, what do they expect me to say to that? If a guest is complaining about something to me and they say, do you know I spent X amount of money to be here? Did they expect me to go like, oh my God, you're so right. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I didn't realize this. Yes, you spent this much money, which means you're in our Platinum Premier Plus Gold AAA card, which means you can act however you want. I should have realized you spent this much money. Oh my God, here, what do you want? Do you want the key to the park? Do you want free everything? Do you want free tickets for life? I don't understand when people say those things. What do they expect you as the receiver to say to that? It doesn't make a difference. If you pay to be at the parks, you pay to be at the parks. There is no tier level of like, I spent this much money so I can act this way. I spent this much money so I can get this. Like, yes, there's different things that cost money, like especially with the resorts, but a day ticket is the same price for every single person. Then you get benefits if you stay at different resorts, like deluxe resorts, extended hours, things like that, proximity, whatever. But when people would say that, I never knew. I just always wanted to know what they expected me to say in return. But that's pretty much it. It really bugs me when people bring their kids to the parks and then they act like their kids are the only kids that matter. They want their kid to have everything first, and they want nobody else to matter in the park. They want their kid to have it all. And it's like, your kid's not the only kid. And then it's the people who complain about, when something happens and they immediately say like, you know how much I spent? I don't care. I know how much you spent, but I also don't care how much you spent. But anyways, this has been another episode of Disney Icks with Casey. If you thought it was funny, or if you liked it, or if you have anything to say, if you have any agreements or disagreements or opinions, I'm all ears. I love to read all that kind of stuff, because again, this is the opinion of someone like myself, who lives here I'm here daily. I'm at the parks daily, so I get to see a bit more than most people would of this kind of stuff. So yeah, if you liked it, follow, give me a comment, give me a like, anything like that. If not, I'm glad you just watched it. That's really it. But okay, it's time for me to go to the parks. I got my lightsabers charging right there. Yeah, there she is right there. So I'm gonna go to Galaxy's Edge today, and I will see everybody later. So peace.